Whelan. You have 6 minutes.
Thank you very much, Cathaoirleach. And I'm very grateful for the opportunity to speak to this motion this evening. I'd like to welcome the Minister here, and I do look forward to his considered response, which perhaps will arbitrate on what is a very informative and what I'm enjoying about the discussion is the healthy and non-partisan and non-party political and open-minded contributions that have been given from both sides and all sides of the House. I'd like to thank Senator Norris in particular for tabling the motion, because for some months now I have been in contact with numerous people around the country and who have been in touch with the office and constituents who have genuine concerns about fluoridation of the public water supply. And what I'd like to say is that their concerns are not vexatious, they're not cranks, and they're not people who are looking, sort of just to stir up, any sort of trouble just for the sake of it. And I think that therefore it is incumbent on us that we have an input to public policy, that we do so in an informed way, and that if the government and the Department of Health are minded to persisting with the current policy, I think they have a responsibility to assuage those genuine public concerns where they lie, and to perhaps a public information campaign of some sort, or indeed to allay people's concerns, because it's not acceptable just to dismiss them out of hand. One thing I do know in this matter is that I'm no expert in the matter at all, and so you are at the mercy, if you like, of the scientific evidence and of the expert reports that are available. And the phrase "doctors differ" comes to mind. And I think it's also incumbent on us not to cherry-pick the scientific data and evidence just to fulfill our own argument and suit our own needs. Because as we speak here today, I'm of two minds on the matter, and I'm not persuaded absolutely one way or the other. It seems to me that there are genuinely strong and persuasive arguments for both sides of the issue. It is of concern that large sections of the EU have chosen to stop or desist from the practice of automatic fluoridation of the public water supply. Surely they're not doing that without good cause themselves. And I find it a little ironic, at least, that as a country that seems to take so much of its lead from the EU and Europe on so many other matters, and we're so compliant and obedient with regard to nearly virtually everything that the EU would say or suggest or put forward. I'm just curious that in the morning, if someone were to take a case to the European Court and win it, would the Department of Health and the government be as strong and robust in its insistence on continuing to fluoridate the water? In fact, if we were subjected to an EU directive in the matter, what would we do in that context? So, I don't think the case for fluoridation is cut and dried, absolutely. And I would ask the Minister, as part of his response, to at least consider addressing and assuaging the public concerns, as I say, perhaps through a public information campaign. And as Senator Mooney and others have pointed out, there is a topicality and an opportunity, an opportune time, as only this week we have put through the House the legislation to enable and establish the new Irish Water Company. So perhaps it is a topical time and an appropriate opportunity to perhaps to review and revisit and at least consider the latest evidence and the concerns that are being put forward. No one, I suppose, in this House or anywhere else, and I'm sure in the Department of Health, would do anything to damage or put in danger the public health. So I'm presuming that it's with everyone's best interest and the public interests that are at heart and are core to the policy. But I don't think we should proceed blindly and blithely just because it's always been that way and continue to do so without constantly keeping it under review. Thank you very much, Minister.